Allan Moffat's death at the age of 86 has left the Australian motorsport community grieving the loss of one of its most influential figures. The four-time Australian touring car champion and four-time Bathurst winner passed away on Saturday morning, surrounded by loved ones. His passing brought an outpouring of tributes from teams, drivers, and fans across the country. Yet among all the messages, one stood out more than any other: the emotional tribute from racing great Larry Perkins, who revealed a deeper and more personal connection to Moffat than many had ever known. Perkins, long admired as one of Australia's most respected drivers and engineers, shared a message that instantly captured the attention of the motorsport world. It wasn't the language of formality or public condolences. It was the voice of a man mourning someone who had been part of his life for decades. As soon as Perkins's words were released, fans began describing the tribute with a phrase that perfectly captured its emotional weight: childhood friendship now in tears. While the two legends did not literally grow up together in early childhood, the sentiment reflects the truth. They came of age inside the same sport, shaped by the same era, pushed by the same adrenaline, and bonded by the same challenges. Their lives ran parallel for more than half a century, from the early years of Australian touring cars through the evolution of supercars, and into the modern era where both were seen as icons. When Perkins wrote, "It's with great sadness that I share the passing of my dear friend, Allan Moffat," it struck a chord because fans knew he meant every word. The phrase "dear friend" was not a polite formality. It reflected a friendship forged through years of competition, respect, shared experiences, and the unspoken understanding that comes from living life on the edge of speed and danger. In his tribute, Perkins continued by saying that Moffat had been a wonderful friend to his entire family for many years. He signed the message with the names Raylene, Nicola, Jack, and Tara Perkins, underscoring that Moffat's presence had extended beyond the track and into the personal lives of those closest to him. It was clear from his words that Moffat was not just a colleague or a former competitor. He was part of the Perkins family story. Fans were struck by the tone of Perkins's tribute because it revealed a relationship far deeper than what was publicly known. While Moffat and Perkins were often seen as fierce rivals, especially during the intense touring car battles of the 70s and 80s, their connection also included moments of quiet friendship. They may have fought for championships on the track, but off it, they built a bond rooted in mutual respect. Perkins's message came at a time when fans were reflecting on Moffat's impact on the sport. Moffat's achievements still stand unmatched in many ways. He won 36 races from 104 championship starts, delivering a win percentage of 34.6%, the highest of any driver with 20 or more victories. His Bathurst victories in 1970, 1971, 1973, and 1977 etched his name into Australian sporting history. His famous duels with Peter Brock defined a generation of racing fans, but Perkins's tribute shifted the focus away from statistics. Instead, it highlighted the human side of Moffat, the man behind the legend. Throughout the motorsport community, similar tributes followed. Ford Racing expressed heartbreak and honored Moffat as a guiding light of the sport. Ford Australia remembered him as a superstar whose influence extended far beyond the track. Dick Johnson Racing and the Shell V-Power Racing team shared a solemn message, emphasizing the sadness felt by the broader racing family. Tickford Racing called it a difficult day and extended condolences to the Moffat family. Many drivers posted their own messages, acknowledging the impact Moffat had on their careers and on the sport's development. But none of these messages carried the personal weight of Larry Perkins's words. His tribute revealed that he had been close to Moffat during the racing great's later years. Perkins hinted at the challenges Moffat had faced, referencing the dreadful disease that eventually took him, a condition that, according to Perkins, prevented Moffat from fully enjoying the recognition and admiration he had earned. His statement suggested that the illness robbed Moffat of the chance to reflect on his own legacy with clarity and pride. Perkins explained that despite Moffat's public acclaim, he had remained humble. He was a man deeply committed to his craft, constantly striving to improve, and always focused on the next goal. Perkins admired that determination and respected the resilience Moffat showed even in the face of declining health. His words painted a portrait of a man who lived for racing, who carried the weight of his fame with dignity, and who never stopped caring about the sport he helped shape. One of the most touching elements of Perkins's tribute was his acknowledgement of the people who supported Moffat in his final years. He expressed huge respect for Phil Grant and LP, who, according to Perkins, guided Moffat through his later life challenges. His gratitude revealed a deeper layer of community within the motorsport world, a sense that legends are not left to face their difficult moments alone. This detail resonated with fans who were anxious to know that Moffat had been well cared for during his illness. Perkins then reflected on what Moffat meant to him personally. He described Moffat as a man of great achievement and great commitment. He noted that even though Moffat's accomplishments had been widely celebrated, the disease that ultimately claimed him prevented him from fully experiencing the appreciation he deserved. This part of the tribute turned into a painful reminder of how even great champions sometimes leave the world without the full knowledge of how loved and admired they truly are. Perkins closed his message by saying that Moffat would be remembered forever by him and by the family who had loved Moffat since the mid to late 70s. He ended with a line that immediately went viral. "If there is a heaven, there are plenty up there to race with." The sentence captured the racing spirit in its purest form: competitive, humorous, nostalgic, and warm. It felt like the kind of thing only someone who had known Moffat intimately could say. Fans reacted with emotion. Many commented that Perkins's tribute brought them to tears. Others said it offered comfort, showing that Moffat's legacy lived not only in championship records, but in the hearts of those who truly knew him. Some fans shared memories of watching Perkins and Moffat race, remembering how their battles created some of the most iconic moments in Australian motorsport. What makes Perkins's tribute especially powerful is how it reframes the narrative of Moffat's life. For years, he was seen as the fierce competitor, the man in the Ford, the face of calm intensity, the rival to Brock. But Perkins revealed a more vulnerable, more human side of the racing great. He showed that behind the reputation was a man who valued friendship, who bonded with fellow drivers, and who quietly faced challenges that the public never saw. This is why fans have described the tribute as the end of a childhood friendship, even if the friendship itself began later in life. The phrase captures what Perkins expressed: a bond that had lasted decades, shaped by shared experiences, battles on track, and deep respect. As fans continue reflecting on Moffat's legacy, Perkins's message stands as one of the most emotional tributes in the wake of the racing legend's passing. It serves as a reminder that while trophies and championships define careers, it is the relationships formed along the way that define lives. Through Larry Perkins' words, the world now sees Allan Moffat not just as a champion, but as a friend, a man whose life touched others in ways far beyond the track. The childhood friendship may now be in tears, but the story it leaves behind will forever remain part of Australian motorsport history.